And we're also joined by Jonny Bullock from the Borough Breakdown podcast. Great to see you, gents. Thanks so much for joining us. Quick note just before we get stuck in. If you like what we do here, everyone, you can get subscribed to us on YouTube and on Spotify. But we'll come to Jonny first because Middlesbrough have had a great start to the season. There was a little bit of trepidation going into the campaign, wasn't there? And has this kind of caught you by surprise a little bit?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. I remember when we caught up a few weeks ago, Gab, and I made you more confused after the call and when you first started it, to be honest. And
you do that most times, Jonny.
I do, yeah, I do, to be honest, and just make you question everything about Middlesbrough. And I still feel that I'm a bit confused by it all, to be honest. Look, it's still very early. We've started very well, but I think there's still so much more to learn about Middlesbrough, to be honest. That I feel like I'll get a good steer of where we'll land, probably about 10 games in, 10, 15 games in. But it's nice to win 3 in a row. We haven't done that since the year I was born, 1994, 1995. So, yeah, it's been a long time coming.
Absolutely. What do you think has been the key to this positive start for Borough? Hayden Hackney and Aidan Morris in midfield, I imagine, would be top of the list.
Oh, God. I mean, let's be honest here. There's probably no better midfield duo in the Championship than Hackney and Morris, to be honest. Hayden and Aidan. I think they just complement each other so much. I think if Hackney was to leave, you lose a bit of Morris as well if he does go. But look, they are so instrumental in how we play. In the first game and first half against Millwall, we were trying, as you know, Rob Edwards decides to get centre backs playing the 10s, bypass the midfield, try and be as vertical as you can, and get the ball as quick as you can. But then I think he started to learn that you can't play around Hackney. You've got to play through him to get the best out of the squad and the team. And we've just looked better ever since, to be honest. But off the ball has been the biggest improvement. We look a lot more solid. And on the ball, we've went from like the most creative team to a team that doesn't create much now. So it's just adjusting to that as well, which I think is give me the cause for concern still.
Interesting. So obviously it's been one of those times where it's, you know, we seem to, every year we come around and it's this time of the season and we've all been really excited talking about Borough getting top 2. And it's been a really poor start and we're asking, what's happened? Where's it going to go? So, you know, it does feel at least positive that it's almost the other way around a little bit. You're asking, can we sustain this from a great start? How much do you think somebody like Son Johansson, obviously coming in with a massive sort of profile, really great loan, sort of seen as a bit of a coup for the team, how much do you think he helps with some of those creativity issues? And what have you seen from him as he's starting to bed into the team these last couple of games?
Sonny Janssen, mate, he's off at him. He's great. I absolutely love him. He's a bit of an enigma. He just has great confidence and arrogance about him. Really good on the ball. He's, you know, a bit of a live way, and it's someone that you probably need, I would say, given that the structural aspect of our team isn't really as creative as much anymore. He's doing incredibly well. And we've only really seen about 45 minutes of him, probably in total, from Millwall and from Norwich. And it looks exciting. It looks really exciting. I think you get the most out of him, though, coming off the bench. 30 minutes to go. I think that's where you'll see the best of him, to be honest. But I'll be looking forward to see if he does start over the next few weeks. But Sverre Niepen as well from Manchester City. He looks a good find. So let's see what he looks like. He only had about 15, 20 minutes on Saturday, but you can tell that he's a good player.
I think one aspect that I'm quite excited about, Jonny, and you touched on it earlier, was this version of Middlesbrough that's more aggressive against the ball and harder to play against. Without losing too much of the more creative qualities we associated from you under Michael Carrick. Are you surprised at how quickly some of the players have kind of adapted to the message from Rob Edwards?
I'm not surprised because it's more simple. It's a very simple structure now. It's like back 3, back 5 out of possession, 5-4-1. Everyone tucks in, simple. The press is very much like a gegenpress now. So it's like very 6 seconds, try and win it straight away. If you can't win it, like we've seen with Edwards' teams in the past, if it doesn't work, you're massively exposed, and we haven't been exposed yet. So that's been a bit of a blessing so far for us. But it has simplified our game a lot, and I think that's just benefited the team. It's a lot more solid, a lot more well drilled, and I feel like that has paid dividends so far. But it's that creative piece, Gab. Yes, we're great defensively now, but if we're only creating from a set piece or an error, that for me is a little bit of a red flag. But he does have the team to do it. Like how well we've been over the last couple of years, and created chances. So we've got the players there. So let's just see if he can unlock them a little bit more now and get us firing from all cylinders. Funny enough, I'll probably learn more against a lesser side than I would against a better team.
Yeah. So what do you think is going to be the solutions for Middlesbrough then when you come up against those deep blocks?
It's an interesting one because I haven't seen it yet. But in the past, Edwards' sides historically have tried to work the wings a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with Callum Britton on the right-hand side, I think that we'll see a lot more of him. Certainly Jansen's going to be really key. I think if we lose Finn Azaz to Southampton this week, I think it's going to be a massive blow for us. McGree's not fit yet. Hackney's linked with West Ham. So there's loads of stuff that could potentially happen with us, which makes me feel reserved. But it's getting more balls in the box, feeding Conway, getting someone close to him, playing maybe a second striker. That will probably make the difference in those games, to be honest.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Ollie, are you sort of having any movement from where you were on Middlesbrough before the season?
Yeah, I think it's been a really interesting. Obviously, you don't want to read too much into 3 games, as I have to keep repeating to myself in the mirror every evening. But you don't want to read too much into 3 games if you can avoid it, because obviously so much can change between now and the end of the transfer window. You know, Jonny referred to it there. There's some really key players that, you know, if Hackney's still there this time next week, that really changes that ceiling of where you're looking to put Middlesbrough. I think as well, one of the things that's caught me off guard more than anything else is, for want of a better phrase, how poor the good teams have been. You know, how poor United have been, how poor Ipswich have looked in terms of their finishing, the way that they're able to take the chances away. The fact that Southampton have been pushed so hard, both, you know, at Wrexham opening day, losing to Stoke. There's so many questions starting to come out. And so that really does mean it feels like an opportunity, doesn't it? Like it feels like a team who's been waiting to kick down that ceiling and has almost thrown away chance after chance for being in such a great position. Last year, I still find it inexcusable Borough weren't in the playoffs last year. But starting this season so well suddenly does just raise that ceiling just a little bit for me, because I was looking at a team pre-season who I'm thinking outside the playoffs, similar to last year, probably finished about 8th. And suddenly I'm thinking there's a real opportunity here for a team who should be kicking into the playoffs minimum now from this position. And maybe they've sorted some of those problems that have plagued them for 2-3 seasons in a row. So it's certainly starting to get in my head. But I have to repeat again, I'll go back to the mirror trick. It's only been 3 games, all. Nothing's decided in August.
You're 100% right, though, Ollie, as well. Like, you're 100% right. So much can change. Like, I don't expect Sheffield United to be bottom of the league by Christmas. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't expect Ipswich to be down there. I don't expect, like, something to be, like, not top of the league. Do you know what I mean? Like, these good sides always find solutions, and they'll always go on big streaks, and they'll be up there. So you've just kind of, weirdly for us, you just have to enjoy what we've got, because I still don't feel like we'll get playoffs at this point. I'm still like being reserved, and I'm still thinking I need to see more. So there's so many if buts and maybes about Middlesbrough, but and again, probably for you all as well. There's so many if buts and maybes about Sheffield United as well.
They seem to be just ifs, buts, and maybes about everybody, and that's what makes it feel like more of an opportunity. I don't see 3 teams who are going to run it. You know, nobody's getting 100 points like Leeds and Burnley last year. There just doesn't seem to be the quality in the league. It's not there to the same level. So it's opportunities for everybody. One of the things, though, for me with Borough, obviously thinking about those reflections and your own concerns, where do you stand on the goalkeeper situation? Obviously, Bryn coming in, being the almost undisputed number 1 at the moment, as it seems anyway, from the first 3 games. Obviously, you had Travers last season. He felt like a bit of a step up. Do you still see that as potentially a weakness in the squad? Do you think you'll do anything about that in the next week or so, or is it going to be Bryn for the season?
I think it'll be Bryn, you know. I think he's doing well in the shirt, you know. I think we've got Dieng that can come back, but I'm not sold on Dieng. I'm not sold on Tom Glover. So you've got one goalkeeper there who's still a kid, but yes, he did well in League One and League Two, but you know, he's still a bit nervous about him, to be honest. I think it was last year, apart from Travers, I think the rest of the 3 goalkeepers were ranked like below 24th or something. It was like we had the worst keepers in the league. So, you know, it always is a concern for us. But hey, I can't fault Bryn so far. He's had nothing much to do really. He hasn't had many saves to make, so we'll probably see that when we play a better team like it. Well, I'm interested to see how we do against you guys at the weekend. To be fair, Ollie, like it's always a tough game. I feel like it's still a false position in a way. Even if you are playing bad, it still takes one game to make it flip on its head and you get a result.
Yeah, I'm going to just run and hide for that one, I think. I'm going to run and hide.
How's Sammy Silvera getting on at left wing back, Jonny?
You know what, Gab? I remember us saying on your show that there's always going to be one person that's going to come through and surprise us all. And he has really surprised me. You know, he really has. I thought he was written off, should be gone. But, you know, fair play to him. He's came back and he's just become fairly solid as a left wing back. Now, look, he needs to, you know, grow a little bit more defensively. But, you know, bringing the ball forward, a direct style of play, it suits him, to be honest. It really does suit him. So I'm happy with how he's performing right now. Do I expect him to be first choice if Bangura is fit? No. Do I expect him to be first choice if we sign Matt Target this week? I'm hoping we don't pay all of his wages because that's $100,000 a week. So I feel like they'll probably take his place as like the season progresses and will become more of like a Rob Edwards Luton over like the next probably few weeks and months. But yeah, really happy with Sammy. Really, really happy with him.
Great stuff. Well, Jonny, we wish you well for the rest of the season, and let's hope this excellent start to the season continues.
Yeah, I'll speak to you soon, guys. Yeah, thanks, Ollie. Hope you're doing well, mate. Yeah, I'm so joking. You're on our show this week, so you'll probably beat us. But thanks, guys. I'll speak to you soon.
Top man, Jonny.
Cheers,
appreciate that.